Commenter question of the day. Does caffeine intake cause weight gain because it stimulates cortisol release? And I asked this individual to show their work and give me some references, and they did, so thank you, and we'll talk about those too. So the first study they gave me was this one, cortisol responses to mental stress, exercise, and meals following caffeine intake. Obviously, this study doesn't have anything to do with weight gain, but if we want to measure caffeine increasing cortisol, this study probably isn't the best one to use. Why? Because they used multiple variables in this study, which is kind of a no-no. Exercise will absolutely cause a temporary rise in cortisol, which is not necessarily a bad thing. And as you can see in the highlighted portions, they measured the response of caffeine in tandem with mental stress, and we also know that mental stress can increase cortisol on its own. The second study this commenter posted discussed stress and obesity and potential mechanisms, but they also noted here that not all people at higher weights have elevated cortisol levels. Because that last article didn't really give us that much good information about how stress can directly impact body weight, here's this one. Stress directly affects the functioning of your prefrontal cortex, the decision-making part of your brain, which obviously affects food choices. Stress can also impact your sleep. Less sleep means more ghrelin the next day. Ghrelin is a hunger hormone, which will make you hungrier the next day. Back to our original question, does caffeine increase cortisol, therefore causing weight gain? This is kind of like saying A equals B and B equals C, therefore A equals C. But we can't really do that. In this case, what we need to do is directly measure if A equals C. Does caffeine cause weight gain? And luckily, research studies have measured this. This is a meta-analysis of randomized control trials from 2019 testing if caffeine has any effect on weight loss, and it turns out it does. Granted, the effect is not huge and it is dose dependent. And mechanism-wise, I think what I've read from previous studies is that it's slightly, very small, raises your BMR for a short period of time, and the dose effectiveness caps out at like 2 cups of coffee. So more is not gonna be better here. So going back to our original question, even though caffeine may increase cortisol, is caffeine in and of itself going to cause weight gain? Unlikely.